Hello, everyone. Let's start with something real. Overthinking is silent but deadly. It doesn't shout like anger or sadness, but it quietly steals your peace. The worst part? We don't even know we're doing it. We think we're being careful or smart, but we're just stuck in our own heads. In today's fast, loud world, we're constantly bombarded with messages, comparisons, and judgments. You start thinking about something from yesterday, and suddenly the doubts creep in. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if I miss my chance? And before you know it, you're mentally exhausted, like you've run a marathon without moving. That's overthinking. It drains your energy, confidence, and stops you from living. Want to start something new? You overthink. By the time you settle, the opportunity is gone. Overthinking is a thief. If you don't stop it, it will quietly steal your future. Why do we overthink? We overthink because we want control. We think, if I just think about this long enough, I'll find the perfect answer. But here's the truth. Life doesn't give you perfect answers. Life gives you choices. You move or you miss them. Overthinking is the lie your brain tells you. It makes you believe that if you just think more, you'll feel safe. But all it does is bring fear. So, let's talk about how to escape this mental prison. Not with cheap tips, but with real, life-changing solutions. Solutions that will stay with you forever. This video isn't just about stopping overthinking. It will help you improve your English, your mindset, and your life. Solution 1. Your mind lies. Let's start with the most powerful truth. Your mind lies. Not because it wants to hurt you, but because it's trying to protect you in the wrong way. Your brain isn't built to make you happy. It's built to keep you alive. It's always preparing for danger, even when there is none. You start thinking, they didn't reply. Maybe they hate me. He looked at me weird. Maybe I said something wrong. I failed once. Maybe I'll fail again. I feel bad, so maybe something bad is coming. But all of this is just noise. It's not truth, it's fear. But here's the real truth. You don't know what others are thinking. You don't know the future. You don't know how something will end. But your mind acts like it does. It creates false stories and then punishes you with them. That's why the first step to stopping overthinking is this. Stop trusting every thought. Not all thoughts are facts. Not all feelings are truth. Your brain might lie to you, but you don't have to believe it. Once you realize this, you take your power back. Let me tell you a true story. Harry Houdini, the world's greatest escape artist, could escape from any prison, any handcuff, any chain. One day, he was locked in a strong jail and told the police, "I'll escape in 30 minutes." He worked on the lock for an hour, sweating, tired, and angry. Finally, he leaned against the door, and it opened. The door was never locked. It was only closed. Houdini believed the door was locked, so he acted like it was. Overthinking works the same way. Your mind says, I can't do it. I'll fail. They don't like me. I'm not good enough. So you don't try. You don't move. You don't speak. But just like Houdini, you're trapped by a lie. The door is not locked. You are not stuck. You are not weak. It's just your mind telling you a false story. Solution 2. Catch the storm before it grows. Overthinking doesn't explode like a bomb. It starts as a small whisper, a tiny thought. You ignore it at first, but then it comes again. and again, and soon it grows bigger and bigger until it's shouting in your head. You feel helpless. The only way to break the cycle is to catch it early. The moment you realize you're overthinking, say, "This is not helping me. I'm not solving anything. I'm stuck. I need to stop." That single sentence is like a sword. It cuts through the noise. It's like stopping a train before it picks up speed. The longer you stay in the thought, the deeper the trap becomes. Solution 3. Empty your brain before it overflows. Have you ever seen a cup overflow? You keep pouring water and eventually it spills everywhere. That's what happens in your mind when you don't release your thoughts. They pile up, one after another, until there's no space left. Suddenly, you feel heavy. You don't even know why. Here's the solution. Write them down. Take a pen and a notebook and write exactly what you're thinking. Not perfectly, just for yourself. Let your brain breathe. Thoughts are loud in your head, but when you write them down, they become quieter. Once it's out, you'll notice something strange. You feel lighter. You feel clearer. Solution 4. What if doesn't exist? One of the biggest traps of overthinking is the question, what if? What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if I embarrass myself? What if everything goes wrong? Here's the truth. You're living inside a future that hasn't even happened yet. A future that might never happen. What if is just fear dressed as a question. It's not your friend, and it's definitely not your future. What if doesn't exist. Don't let it control a life that's waiting to begin. Solution 5. Say the thought out loud. Overthinking is strong because it stays hidden in your head. It whispers, repeating the same thoughts on a loop. But there's one trick that can destroy its power. Say it out loud. When you speak the thought, it becomes smaller. It becomes weaker. Suddenly it's not as scary. It's just a thought, and you have the power to challenge it. Solution 6. Let go of perfection. Perfection is one of the biggest reasons people overthink. We want to say the perfect thing, look the perfect way, make the perfect decision. But perfection doesn't exist. So stop chasing it. Perfection is just fear in disguise. People don't connect with perfect, they connect with real. Real words, real stories, real growth. Nobody became great by being perfect. They became great by starting. So choose progress over perfection. Done is better than perfect. Solution 7. Move your body. Overthinking can trap you in a cycle of endless thoughts, and it doesn't just affect your mind, it affects your body too. When you're stuck in your head, your body freezes, your muscles become tense, your breath becomes shallow, and you feel trapped in your own anxiety. But here's the truth. The fastest way to break free from overthinking is to move your body. Movement is incredibly powerful because it disrupts the emotional feedback loop in your mind. You don't need to exercise intensely. Just a simple shift in physical movement can bring your focus back to the present moment. When you walk around, stretch, or even dance, your body begins to release the tension built up by the overthinking storm. The tension in your body starts to ease, and in turn your mind begins to calm. The more you move, the less room your overthinking has to grow. Think about it this way. When you're stuck in your thoughts, everything feels loud and chaotic, but once you get up and move, your mind gets a chance to reset. Movement helps you reconnect with your body, creating a sense of peace that overthinking can't touch. Next time you feel overwhelmed, Don't stay still. Get up and move, whether it's walking outside, doing some stretches, or just shaking out the tension. The key is to stop waiting for the thoughts to stop. Instead, give yourself permission to move and reset. You'll be surprised at how much lighter you feel. Remember, overthinking feeds off your stillness. The more you stay in your head, the more it will grow. So move your body and let your mind follow. Solution 8. Take one small step. Overthinking loves to tell you to wait, to think more, and to plan endlessly. It makes you believe that if you just analyze things a little longer, you'll find the perfect solution. But here's the harsh reality. Overthinking doesn't lead to clarity. It leads to paralysis. The longer you think, the more the fear grows. The more you delay, the harder it becomes to take action. The truth is that overthinking feeds off your indecision. When you wait and think for too long, you're just feeding the fear. The key to breaking the cycle is simple. Take one small step. Just one. Speak one sentence in English. Write one line in your journal, or make a small decision. That's all. When you take a tiny step forward, something incredible happens. The fear begins to lose its power. It becomes smaller, more manageable. The longer you wait, the more your brain will come up with reasons not to act. But when you act, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. That first step builds confidence and momentum. Let's break it down further. You want to speak in English, but your mind fills with worries. What if I say something wrong? What if they laugh at me? But the moment you speak even one sentence, you stop the cycle. You realize that speaking English isn't as scary as it seems. That small action shows your brain that you don't need to fear the future, you just need to take action now. So next time you're paralyzed by overthinking, ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do right now? And take that step. You'll find that progress is much more powerful than perfection. Solution 9. Look at facts, not feelings. One of the biggest mistakes overthinkers make is trusting their emotions too much. We often feel nervous, anxious, or afraid, and our minds take those emotions as facts. For example, you might feel anxious before speaking in English and think, I'm going to fail, or they'll judge me. But emotions aren't facts. They're just signals. They tell us what we're feeling, but they don't necessarily reflect the truth of the situation. When you feel anxiety, pause and ask yourself, what do I actually know for sure? What is the real evidence here? Your emotions are important, but they're not always accurate. They can trick you into thinking something bad is going to happen, even when there's no evidence to support it. Let's say you text someone, and they don't reply right away. Your mind might go into overdrive. What if they're mad at me? What did I do wrong? But the truth is, they might simply be busy or away from their phone. When you focus on the facts rather than the feelings, you gain clarity. This is where overthinking can spiral out of control. You feel nervous, so you think you'll fail, but in reality you've probably done well. A student might feel terrible after an English test, thinking, I messed up, but the facts might show they answered most questions correctly and spoke confidently. When you focus on facts, you'll see that your emotions were just exaggerating the situation. Next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what do I know for sure? Facts are grounded in reality, and when you focus on them, overthinking starts to lose its power. Solution 10. Ask for help. Overthinking often convinces us that we must handle everything alone. We think, If I ask for help, I'll look weak, or I should figure this out myself. But the truth is, asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength and wisdom. No one is meant to carry every burden alone, and reaching out for support can help you break free from the cycle of overthinking. Overthinking can trap you in your head, making you feel isolated and overwhelmed. You start thinking you need to solve everything yourself, and that only increases your stress. But when you ask for help, whether from a friend, family member, or professional, you allow yourself to share the burden. There's no shame in asking for support. In fact, it's one of the most courageous things you can do. Imagine walking through a forest, lost and confused with no direction. You see someone nearby who knows the way. Would you stay silent and struggle alone? Of course not. You'd ask, "Can you help me find the way?" The same applies to overthinking. If you're stuck, reach out to someone you trust. Just talking to someone can ease the pressure and give you a new perspective. It might not always provide all the answers, but it will lighten the load and help you stop overthinking. So next time you feel overwhelmed, remember, you don't have to fight this battle alone. Asking for help is an act of strength. It's about caring for your mental health and giving yourself the support you deserve.